What's up, traders? Eric here, and in the free nightly video, I got an important announcement to make. Earnings season is here. So what that means is that we have some fun on the horizon. Alcoa officially, that's always the one, kicks us off tomorrow after the bell. But we have had a couple of names, mostly financials, go ahead and report. Things like JPM, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, Interactive Brokers actually reported today after the bell. I want to review all of those or briefly review all of those. But I want to look at a plan for tomorrow here first. So today, really interesting. Overall, just not the type of action in which I was hoping or expecting, thinking that we would see. So it leads me to be a little bit cautious tomorrow, just given this chop and the action in which we saw. Our game plan here was really simple for today. We had a level right down here at 47.79.75s. You can see the low of the day was 47.79.50s. One tick push through the level, nice bounce, about 20 points off the level, but it should have happened over here. Like, we should have had this morning, as opposed to rallying all the way back up 30 points, selling back off all the way into lows again, and then rallying, ultimately to kind of close this out with a small, couple point red bar day there. So this action overall was just really whippy. And it was kind of like that across the board. The one that stands out to me here that was kind of the guide here for the day was going to be the Russell. So Russell, I was really looking for us to get under 1946.80s at the open. That was my plan. Retest it, and then we could go lower because there's a lot of room down here towards 1891s. There's like 50 points worth of room to go, and it was just really unable to do it. So even though market was overall weak here, the Russell was kind of hanging in there a little bit better than I thought. And there is one thing really interesting here today, and that's right here out of the Dow. When we pushed up, kind of into, 1030 and then into 1050 here on the day, out of the rest of the indices, which ultimately, S&Ps did set a divergence up here at these highs today at 1120. But at that same time, the Dow was weaker. The Dow ultimately didn't make that rally, didn't get those new highs, and then, sold off and got these new lows here on the day when the NASDAQ didn't. So we had a valid divergence here. We had a valid divergence up here at the highs, and the only thing we're missing is just the green arrow down here on the day. That ultimately did not fire, but we did get a red arrow up here on the highs of the day. So overall, rather interesting action. I think if we take that over to the SPY here, it gets even more interesting, if you will, is that we had this level up here at 475.94s. We had a level down here at 472.96s, and this one ultimately doesn't trade on the day. So we traded the level out of the S&Ps, but we front ran it a little bit out of the SPY. So what that means for me now going into tomorrow is I have two very key things to watch for in the SPY. I'm also going to be watching that in the S&Ps, but that is if we can come down and retest this 472.96s, then I'm open to longs if we can start to bounce from that level. If we start getting through that, then obviously we've got some room to go. And I think that realistically, as I mentioned on my Instagram, opens up the door for 464.18s to trade potentially this week, which is a rather large move. I mean, we're talking like 9 points to the downside, right? On the other hand, if we can get up through 475.94s, which we tried to do ultimately, twice here today, then I'm open to long opportunities. I would like to see 472.96s trade first before we start looking for those longs. But again, if it does happen, we're getting up through 475.94s, then I'm open to, long opportunities. Now, the only trade in which I put on today here is going to be in NVIDIA. I was on voice in the Discord channel here, watching the market action this morning, looking for trades, looking for us to trade that level, like I mentioned in the S&Ps. All of the things, and I couldn't find anything, but as we got down close to that level, we had a really nice rally take place out of NVIDIA here, and this presented itself with a good relative strength that I thought had room to continue to move. So we were able to pick up right in through here about 556s, some options on the 590s, I almost said 290, calls for this week, thinking that we can get the push up towards $600 with options expiration being this week. Now, again, it is a shorter week, but we did get a nice start to this move here today. It managed to move $16.72 here, and it's up a little bit more here in the after hours. You can see we've pushed up towards this 565.81s, which will be the line in the sand for tomorrow. Ideally, we can open above this level, retest it, and then rally from there and start working our way towards that 600 print. All of these things even better if S&Ps or the SPY can trade down into those lower levels while NVIDIA is holding over this 565.81s. There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of things moving and kind of shaking with this one. But I really want to see that relative strength continue in here. And I really want to see the SPY, more specifically, trade that lower level and then start to bounce and give me a little bit of confirmation that, hey, we've got some more room to move to the upside. And we're going to have a short week in order to which to do it. So I'm being a little bit more selective. I'm stepping out a little further in terms of duration, or not duration, but in terms of option strike price compared to what I normally would. Just looking for that larger move here into OPEX with the open interest, all the things that are kind of taking place inside of NVIDIA here. Now, we'll wrap it up there. Let's take a look at Goldman Sachs and the banks here. So we had Goldman Sachs. This is one thing in which I hope is not the case here with earnings season, which is, like I said, just starting. Super whippy. I mean, total Goldman Sachs range on the day, $10.69, which was the pre-market range. Like you can see, we popped up here towards 385s. We sold off towards 374s, and we did the exact same thing today here. And if we take a look at, last week here on Friday, you can see out of JPM, we got a big move up and then sold off here. We got a gap down today. We started trying to rally some of that back. So the bank names in general, JPM, Wells Fargo here, Bank of America, IBKR did report after hours here today. They're overall a really, really mixed bag. And I would like to see some cleaner action here out of earnings season. But at the end of the day, if NVIDIA gets through that level tomorrow, SPY trades those lower levels, and we can start to get a bounce from there, then we'll have something to do. But as of right now, that's what I got. So take care. Hope it helps. And as always, if you guys want to join that Discord or the MLT Discord for those voice and the analysis and the plans and all of the stuff, the write-ups and whatnot with levels, then click the link in the description below, and I'll see you guys there. Peace.